These breakfast sessions really are led by our members. They are in response to members' interests or challenges or needs at the moment. So during lockdown, we've started this series that focuses on remote HR, specifically around sort of recruitment and onboarding. And a big thank you to Plus Accounting for sponsoring these breakfast sessions and allowing them to run them for our members. So this is actually a bonus edition of these breakfast sessions. We've run 3 previously. We did one focused on interviewing, one focused on onboarding, and one from the employee perspective. But what came out of those 3 events was a real interest in making those processes more inclusive. And I think what we really have at the moment is an opportunity for us to rethink a lot of these processes, that we're sort of facing a new world of HR. And I think what we have an opportunity to do is to redesign a lot of these processes so that we can make sure that inclusivity is at the heart. So that's what we're going to focus on today. I'm really delighted that we have Adam Hyland joining us, who is the Campaigns and Equality Director at a fantastic local company called Diversity and Ability. So I've got a couple of questions that I've pre-prepared for Adam, which we'll run through. If you have any questions, please do pop them in the chat, and I'll try and refer to some of those as well. But that just leads me to introduce Adam. Adam, would you? Oh, sorry, one bit of housekeeping. If you could all pop your and then if you do have a question, pop it in the chat, and then I can read that out for you. That would be fantastic. So, Adam, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, good morning, Rebecca. Good morning, everybody. It's really great to be part of this event, and I have to say I've never been part of a bonus session. I feel very privileged to be a part of this event. So, as Rebecca has said, my name is Adam Hyland. I'm Campaigns and Equalities Director of Diversity and Ability, which is based in Brighton. And Diversity and Ability is a disabled-led social enterprise. We have been running now for 9.5 years, and we've got a big 10th year party in the new year, which is very exciting. And Diversity and Ability really does 3 main pieces of work. The first piece is that we support organisations to become more inclusive, and we support them with their disability and inclusion agenda. And that involves providing training and consultancy throughout the organisations that we support. The second work flow that we focus on is offering one-to-one support to disabled people in employment, and that can be support around using assistive technology, work-based coaching, and well-being mentoring. And then the third strand that we work on is what we call our social justice projects, where we support disabled people in society where maybe there is no current support mechanism. So an example would be our work with the homeless charity called Crisis, and we support Crisis and their clients by providing free assistive technology in order to support people to get back into employment. And as we know, employment and being in accommodation goes hand in hand. So we support people getting back into employment and back into accommodation. So that's a quick whistle stop tour, I guess, of what we do.
That's fantastic. Thank you. Also, I've made a note of your 10th party ready to ask for an invite. So
you've got it.
So thinking about the, I guess, the start of the recruitment process, is there anything that you think companies should be thinking of when they're putting together their job descriptions and their job adverts to make those sort of more inclusive?
Yeah, I mean, I think the best thing to think about is there is a difference between a job advert and the job description. I think sometimes they can become a bit blurred. So, for us, a job advert is really selling the job, the role, to potential candidates. And I think it's really crucial that in that job advert we really get excited and show candidates that we want to be and we are an inclusive employer. So I think from the get-go we need to be shouting about how as organisations we want to attract diversity of thought, diversity of experience, because we know that diversity brings so much to organisations in terms of culture, in terms of performance, in terms of productivity. So I think from the get-go we, as employers, need to be making it really clear in our job apps that we are an English employer. Obviously, when you do that, you need to make sure you really are saying what you do and becoming an inclusive employer. But I think in order to attract diverse talent, you need to be not just having it a small print at the bottom that says, you know, we're just really confident, or you know, we need to be having it right at the top that really alerts people who may not necessarily know which company to apply for if they know that they've got different needs and are really unsure whether that company will actually meet those needs. So I think from the get-go it's about shouting from the tops that we want diversity and we want to make people's needs in order to reach their potential. And then I guess secondly to that is the job description. And really the job description should be more about what is expected of the candidate in the role. But the language that we use here is so important. And one of my biggest bugbears is I think we've become a bit stagnant in the way that we recruit, in what we used to call the norm. And I think sometimes in our job specs we have things in there that either are not actually crucial to the role, but they're in there because they've always been there. And secondly, I think some of the language we use, like I'm trying to think of an example. An initiative thinker who has the ability to think outside the box. Now, sometimes we use big fancy creative words, but for some people that might not be really clear what we're asking for. So I think being really specific and clear and not use kind of jargon that we've got used to using will really support people to understand what is actually needed in the role and not put people off. So I think for me, they're the kind of main things that I think we need to be considering more.
I think that's a really, sorry, I'm scribbling so many notes down as you're talking. I think particularly when you were talking about that sort of celebratory language as well, and it not being a box tick, but also sort of, I know we've sort of discussed a lot in the past around actually, you know, how you bring that to life and how you sort of show within your culture and within your sort of your business model, how you really value that diversity of thought. So that was really helpful. Thank you.
I think back also, you know, I think organisations have got quite good at telling people that obviously they have any reasonable adjustments that need to be made at the interview. It's on there, but normally it's right at the bottom in small print. But why? You know, these things are really important, and they should really be, or we should be wanting to tell prospective candidates that we will make adjustments and we want people's diversity in our organisation right at the top instead of small print at the bottom.
Brilliant. So if we move on to the sort of the next stage of the process and thinking about the interview process, and I was just thinking that I think the process sort of virtually could be quite daunting for people. So I just wondered if you had any thoughts on how we could make that process perhaps less daunting.
You know, I think it's a really, really good and interesting question, because you're quite right to say that interview remotely can be quite daunting for people. I think that's very true. However, I think what we do need to think about actually is, you know, so-called previous norm. We used to insist on having people come to interviews, sit on the opposite side of the table with three people staring at them, asking very serious questions. And I think it's important to recognise that our previous norm was also quite daunting for a lot of people. So actually, whilst COVID-19 has been horrific for many people in the country, I think one thing that we can really start to think about is actually, well, when we go back, it'll be a different kind of norm. And I think it's about offering choice. So I think we need to think about offering choice, and we need to get out of this kind of archaic way of interviewing, which in a weird way tends to try and trip people up almost. But actually, surely, as organisations, we want to be able to see candidates at their very best. So I think offering choice is crucial. That is one part of the question that I think we need to think about. But obviously, right now we don't have much choice because of COVID. So online recruitment is key right now for many organisations. So I guess in order to make that more inclusive and to kind of try and decrease the anxiety around it, is maybe we can be supplying questions in advance. I don't know why that has been a hot potato for so long, but it still seems to be a hot potato. But if you give everybody the questions in advance and everyone is on an equal playing field, or more of an equal playing field, I should say, and maybe allow people to record their questions on video, and they can play the video in the interview, so that they're not having to get anxious or stressed about saying the right thing at the right time. They pre-record it, so the pressure is off, and then they might feel more comfortable adding to their pre-recording or answering questions in that space. So again, it's about offering choice and looking at different ways of capturing that information. And obviously things like having closed captions on is really important for online content, and if an individual needs to be a silent interpreter, then that can be done remotely as well. So I think there's loads of different little things that we can be doing to make this online interviewing more comfortable. And again, like I said earlier, it's about giving people the opportunity to show you their best.
I think it's such an interesting point, and I know I was sort of speaking with your colleague Atif about this previously, and it's sort of, I think Atif was talking about interviews being like exams, and actually how we need to break that sort of process. And it's something that we were talking about sort of pre-lockdown, and I was really keen to run some sort of events around that. So it'd be interesting to sort of look at what we do post lockdown, because as you say, interviews should be really there to show the best of candidates, not to trip them up. So I'm looking forward to continuing that sort of that conversation.
I mean, one thing we've done before is actually gone for a walk with that individual. So we're not, there's no desk, there's no formal kind of intimidating environment. It's just about connecting with that individual and trying to, we think just trying to work out whether that individual is a fit for the organisation, and whether that organisation is a fit for that individual.
I think that sounds like a really lovely way to interview, and as you say, just a sort of a way to take that pressure off. So I look forward to being able to take those walks hopefully soon. So the third question that I had before sort of I ask if anyone has any questions in the chat, if you do have anything, please pop it in so I can make sure we have time to cover them and I don't totally dominate with my list of questions. But I just wondered, I know we've spoken in the past about sort of helping companies create anticipatory welcomes, and I just wondered if you had any thoughts on how companies can do that in a sort of virtual way for new employees.
I guess I would think that back to most of the ones that we've been talking about. If I can't stress enough how important it is that we get the message out there that we want diversity and we want diversity of all. And there was research done by an organisation with Even Break, and the research basically shows that the biggest barrier to disabled people applying for roles is not knowing whether that organisation was going to be inclusive and welcoming. So if that's the biggest barrier to get people to even apply, then we need to be, again, apologies about repeating myself, but we need to be shouting from the rooftops about the fact that we, as employers, want diversity and we welcome diversity, and we want to make any reasonable adjustments that we can to enable people to reach their potential. I think that is really a simple thing to do, but are we doing enough? I don't think we are. So I think we can do more work about being more upfront about our needs and our desire and our want to be more diverse and inclusive workforce. And obviously online now, I think it's more important than ever before that we provide examples of how we can be inclusive. So the previous question was about what can we do to be more inclusive about online recruiting? Why can't we be given examples in our job adverts, in our job descriptions about how people can really show their best in different ways? Because I think we see a huge increase in people wanting to apply for your organisation.
Thank you. Sorry, I was just quickly looking through the questions. I can see them popping up. Do you mind if I just fire a couple of these at you? Vicky asked, what would you say are the main benefits for having diversity in the workplace and around the decision-making table?
Well, there's been research done that compares similar organisations in the same sector where one board is male, pale and stale against the board that is diverse. And the research shows that the board that was diverse outperformed the other organisations by about 30%, I believe it was. So we know there's evidence out there that shows diversity and contributing heavily to organisations. I think we have unconscious biases where when we recruit, we tend to try, or not try, but we tend to be in the habit of recruiting people who are similar to us. And when you have people that are similar to yourself, you're just not having any diversity of thought. So you sit around decision-making tables, all agreeing about the boring ideas that you've come up with time and time again. But actually, having a diverse leadership and a diverse workforce, you get a lot more different ideas and, most importantly, experience. And we talk a lot about qualifications and education, but that lived experience of diversity is so crucial when we're looking at bringing diversity report into our organisations, because we need that lived experience to inform not only best practices within the workforce, but that has a knock-on effect to the services that we deliver. And if we can have that diversity, then we're going to be able to offer a more diverse service that meets a bigger need that we have in our society. So I think there's huge benefits. And talking about tech organisations, if I said to people if they could name two of the most influential people in the IT world over the last 20 years, I think most people would probably say Bill Gates and Steve Jobs. Now, I don't think it's a coincidence that they were both dyslexic and neurodiverse people. Now, I'd argue that it's probably a shame that they had to wait until they were successful to be able to share that, but I think it's not a coincidence that they were neurodiverse. So I think when we look, we can really start to see what diversity and diversity of thought can bring to our organisations.
Fantastic. Thank you, Adam. I'm aware I'm normally very keen to finish these bang on past, but we have 2 questions that have come in that I'd love to get through. So if you're happy, we might slightly run over, but I'd just love to cover these before we dial off. So there had been a question around how can employees promote diversity in the workplace, but your colleague Atif has helpfully popped 2 links in from your website, which is brilliant. Sam had asked, she said, I would welcome Adam's thoughts on blind recruitment. Surely removing the ability to identify the applicant doesn't solve the underlying issues.
No, it doesn't matter. I think what we need to be doing is, instead of, I guess, removing identity as well, celebrating identity, I think. And that's the key thing, and it's not, you know, it's not about kind of being successful despite being dyslexic or despite being blind. It's about being successful because of your diversity and because you think and work in different ways. And I think that's the key thing that we need to take away. I think that's a crucial question, Sam, because I think it's about changing the culture in our organisations to see that disability is not a deficit. It can be a huge asset if we only get the right support in place. And actually that support doesn't need to be big, doesn't need to cost huge amounts of money. It can be the smallest changes that can remove the biggest barriers often. So I think it's about, you know, changing that mindset of wanting to know about diversity, giving people the opportunity and the space to feel safe to say, you know, I'm blind, and this is what I need in order to thrive in your organisation. And when I can thrive in your organisation, this is the impact I can make. I think those are the conversations we need to be having. I hope that answers the question, so.
Yeah, I can see Sam nodding along. So absolutely. And just finally, a question from Abby was: how can you reassure candidates at the interview process that they will be supported from the organisation, especially with so much remote working?
Oh, I love that question. That's a great question too. I had loads of great questions today. I think it's just about being upfront and honest. I think still to this day, the conversation around so-called disability still seems to feel a bit of an awkward one, which I don't quite understand really. But I guess because diversity and ability, live it and celebrate it every day, it's kind of part of our way of working. But I think the key is to just be upfront in the interview and in all conversations and actually talk about it instead of maybe shying away and not wanting to mention it just in case we offend someone. There's no harm in saying to every candidate, if you have any access requirements, we will want to meet them and we'll work with you to get the best solution. I think if we can start to normalise those conversations so that it's not an awkward conversation, it's a conversation that we have every day with every candidate, and actually I think people will start to become more assured that this organisation that I'm involved with really wants to value me, value my diversity, and allow me to reach my potential. So yeah, I think normalising the conversation is key.
Thank you, Adam. There's so much that we could dive into there, but I'm afraid that we're out of time for now. But what I will do is I'll make sure that in the follow-up email from today, I'll add the links that that have been shared on the chat for further reading or watching. Adam actually gave a fantastic talk. I saw this in the chat actually as well, but I was going to say Adam gave a great talk at one of our talent festivals probably a couple of years ago now, around the access to work scheme, which is a great way to sort of show your sort of opportunities to support candidates. And I'll pop a link to that in the follow-up email as well. Also, there's a diversity working group, which Diversity and Ability are members of, which is a really good place for businesses to share best practice. So I'll pop a link to that in the follow-up email as well, and a link to the Diversity and Ability website, so that if you want to look at any more of this in more depth with Diversity and Ability, then you can get in touch. So just want to say a massive thank you to Adam. I hope you don't mind me saying, Adam, but before this, you told me that you have a 10-week-old son. So I am absolutely, my socks are knocked off that you have the brain space to be able to share your thoughts so eloquently with us. So thank you very much for your time and for sharing all of your expertise. And oh, sorry, go ahead.
Thank you, and thank you for the good conversation and the questions. I think that's so important. We feel safe enough to be asking these questions. And if anyone wants to get in touch with me or Tiva afterwards, we'll be happy to answer any more questions that you may have. So thank you, Rebecca.
Lovely. Thank you so much, everyone. Have great days, and I hope I get to see you all soon.